Check 1 2.
Let's call the meeting of the Highway and Buildings Committee to order. We'll have a roll call vote. Not,
Mr. Washington?
Present.
Mr. Kinzinger? Mr. Olthoff?
Present.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Tholen? Ms. Polk? Mr. Snipes? Ms. Peters? Present. Mr. Ritter? Mr. Zenz? Ms. Haas? Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Featherling?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Excuse me. Mr. Dunham?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler?
Present.
Mr. Seroy?
Present.
We have a quorum.
is there any public comment? We don't see any here, no tags here, so We don't have any public comment. We need a motion to approve the minutes of August 15th, 2019. All right. Ms. Peters and Mr. Olthoff. Okay. Doesn't have to be a roll call. Just voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, same sign. The ayes have it. Now we'll have a highway with Mark Rogers. The motion to open the sealed bids. A voice vote. Mr. Zenz?
Mr. Eckhoff.
Mr. Eckhoff. Okay. And the second? Okay. Mr. Smith. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the same sign. The ayes have it. Try the other end.
I need to throw that away.
I don't think it's lost its edge. Oh, okay. bids for a letter opener.
All right, good morning. We'll do the first is our public sale for the equipment that we declared surplus last month. Kelly did give you another copy of the bid tab sheet. I didn't know how many bids we would have, so you do have 2 pages there. So I will go through everything. We will take these and we will award them to the highest bidder. So the first one is from Jeff Whitaker. Okay, and he's bidding on item number 1, the international truck, and he's bidding $15,600, 0 cents, $15,600. He's bidding on item number 2, the plow, and he is bidding $200 on the plow, and he is bidding on number 3, the spreader, and that is $200 also. Next is Junior Township Road District. And they're bidding on item number 1, and Junior Township's bid is $20,100. And item number 2, the plow, $750.
What were those again?
Item number 1 was the truck, and it was $20,100,
Okay.
and number 2 was $750. Next is Yellowhead Township Road District. He is bidding on item number 2, the snowplow, $205. And also item number 3, the spreader, $103. Next is Jeremy Roberts. Item number 8, $306. Item number 9, the water tank, $20. Item number 10, $2. Item number 11, $2. Item number 13, $2. Item number 15, $2. And item number 19, $2. Next is the Village of Grant Park. Bidding on item number 4, the hot box, and it's $2,005. Next is William Ellerman. That's ELLERMAN. Bidding on item number 6. Mr. Elman's bid is $2,955.00. $2,955. Next bidder is St. Anne Township. Bidding on item number 2, the snowplow. Their bid is $1,500. And item number 3, the salt spreader, $200. Next is Andrew DeLong. Bidding on item number 15. His bid is $22. Next bidder is Carl Goodwin. And Mr. Goodwin is bidding on item number 6, pickup truck. And his bid is $3,223.00. Next bidder is Steve Emmy.
Yes.
I think it's EMME or EMMY. I can't see. It's an E? Okay. Bidding on item number 1, the international dump truck. And that bid is $22,255.00. $22,255. Also bidding on item number 5, the pickup truck. That amount is $4,627.00. And on item number 6, the pickup truck, $3,555.00. Also bidding on item number 11, the impact wrench. And that amount is $27. Item number 12, the floor buffer. That amount is $55. The die grinder is $2. Let's see, we're on number 14 is $22 for the shop vac. The automatic level, $26, which is item number 15. Item number 16, the jackhammer, $20. And item number 17, $20. Next is Teresa, let's see, Monday, M-O-N-D-Y.
Yep.
Dash Holley, Holley.
Is that Teresa, T-H or T-E?
T-E. T-E-R-E-S-A. Let's see. Item number 5, the pickup truck. The bid is $700. And item number 6, the pickup truck, $500. Next is Don Blake. Mr. Blake is bidding on item number 6, pickup truck, and that amount is $3,325.00. $3,325. Next item is number 11, which is the impact wrench, and it is $65. Next is item number 13, the die grinder is $15. And the shop vac, $20. That's the next item, number 14. The next bidder is Right Way Snow Control, R-I-T-E. Right Way Snow Control. They're bidding on item number 5, the 2007 Ford Crew Cab, and that amount is $6,000. And number 6, the Dodge pickup truck, and that amount is $3,100. And next is L-A-L-U-N-A. L-A-L-U-N-A. Bob? He's been on item number 9, the water tank. He's bidding $51. And on item number 10, the shop vac, $39. So that is all of the bids we have. Do we want to go through and tell who's the highest, or can I go back and review these and just recommend to the highest bidder? Okay. Please.
Motion been seconded.
Oh, there are ties? Okay. Number 2 and 3? Two and three? Just three.
Yeah, the other time was all.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Could we amend that motion to say that in the event? 10. There's a motion and second on the floor. Could that motion be amended to say after review that we agree to flip a coin in the event of any tie vote? So then
if both parties are here, we can do that right here, but I don't know that both parties are here. But otherwise, yes, I'll call them and have them meet at my office, and we'll discuss it there. If that's okay with everybody.
Yeah.
13. Thank you, sir. Is there any policy against county employees bidding on this equipment?
No,
Okay, just want to check.
just I can't.
And we can't, but
Yeah.
there's somebody from another department that
Yeah.
want to bid. Okay.
Okay.
Nobody from your department can bid, is that correct?
No, they can bid.
They can bid too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now what do we do next?
So I think there's a motion and a second, then we just need, it's can be a voice vote because we're not spending money, so just a
Okay.
voice vote.
We have a motion and a second. We do? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, same sign. The ayes have it.
Okay. Next, we are purchasing actually 3 pickup trucks. So the first one we'll do is, let's see. How does it say it on the agenda? Crew cab, okay. So we'll do the crew cab. So this is a bid for a crew cab pickup truck per the specs. And the first bidder I have is Hovey Buick GMC. Hovey's bid is $46,220.00. $46,220.00. Okay. Next is Country Chevrolet. Country's bid is $44,605.00. Okay. We will be comparing these to state bid, and so I would like a motion to accept the bid of the lowest bidder once we compare them to the state bid.
Have a motion and second by Mr. Snipe and Mr. Featherling. All in favor say aye.
No, we'll need a voice vote.
Oh, we need a roll call vote.
Mr. Washington,
Aye.
Mr. Kinzinger,
Aye.
Mr. Olthoff, Mr. Hess, Ms. Polk, Mr. Snipes, Ms. Peters, Mr. Carrico, Mr. Eckhoff, Mr. Featherling, Mr. Smith, Mr. Dennell, Mr. Wheeler,
Aye.
motion carries.
All right, the next thing is 2020 4x4 double cab pickup trucks. We are ordering 2 of these. First bidder is Hovey Buick GMC. And Hovey's bid is $88,750.88. $88,750.88.
Question, Mr. Chairman?
You're on.
Is that both?
Yes, that's for
Okay.
both.
Thank you. That's some truck. Yeah. More like a dually.
Gold laden.
Next is for Country Chevrolet. Bless you. Country Chevrolet's bid for the two trucks is $85,522.00. $85,522.00. That's for 2 pickup trucks. All right. We will compare this also to state bid, so I'd entertain a motion to go ahead and approve that.
Just a question, Mr.
Gotta have the motion first.
We'll have to have a motion. Mr. Snipes, Ms. Peters.
Thank you, Chairman. Was this let out to, how far wide did this,
It was in the newspaper,
oh, okay.
and
That's-
we made sure the
that-
locals
Yeah.
knew about it.
If it was in the newspaper, that's the reason it didn't go out any further. Okay.
Okay,
Need a voice vote.
we have to have a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
No, I'm sorry, we need a roll call vote. I'm sorry.
Mr. Washington,
Aye.
Mr. Kinzinger, Mr. Olthoff,
Aye.
Mr. Hess, Ms. Polk, Mr. Snipes, Ms. Peters, Mr. Carrico, Mr. Eckhoff, Mr. Featherling, Mr. Smith, Mr. Dennell, Mr. Wheeler. Motion carries.
Okay.
I don't have anything else. Oh, I do have my pay estimate, sorry. It was taxing.
All right. I have a few pay estimates this morning. The first one is for our county general maintenance supplement 1 for 2019. This is a final pay estimate to Scanlon Excavating. That amount is $27,329.30. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2019 payable to Vulcan Materials. This is for chips and road mix picked up at the quarry with our trucks, and that amount is $1,052.82. Next is Auto Road District for their 2019 general maintenance payable to Grasso Construction Company. This is for oil and chip work that was done in the township, and that amount is $109,647.29. Next is Yellowhead Road District for their 2019 general maintenance payable to Grasso Construction Company. This is for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $103,950.70. Next is for Kankakee Road District, section 17-05-122-00-SS. This is payable to MG2A for engineering and design services, and that amount is $2,120.00. And last is Rockville Road District for their 2019 general maintenance payable to Prairie Materials. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry with their trucks, and that amount is $5,733.11.
We'll have a motion and second. Now we'll have a roll call vote.
Mr. Washington,
Aye.
Mr. Kinzinger, Mr. Olthoff,
Aye.
Mr. Hess, Ms. Polk, Mr. Snipes, Ms. Peters, Mr. Carrico, Mr. Eckhoff, Mr. Featherling, Mr. Smith, Mr. Dennell, Mr. Wheeler. Motion carries.
I don't have anything else unless anybody's got any questions for me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 12. Mr.
12.
Chairman.
12.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark, I can see they're working on the filling station today. I had to drive right. Is that the pump renewal thing that's going on?
Yes, our crews are doing the concrete work, so we're doing the removal, so everything's out of the way when they want to start. It's probably going to be at least a couple more weeks. They have to order the pumps and the controller.
Thank you, sir.
So how will you do fill-ups until that time?
We're going to use credit cards, and I've notified all of the other departments that we'll let them know. It'll probably be down for about 2 weeks.
Mr. Snipes.
I don't know if you have any input in this, but in the city of Kankakee, when you go out Route 45 and 52 going out south, and I guess it's like the before you get to Shapiro, it's like one of the roads that you can go up under that bridge to get to Washington Street. It looks like it's about to cave in. Who do you contact for that? I mean, I know that it's the trains and stuff goes over it, but that area looks just like it's.
I think the structure belongs to the railroad, so it'd be the the Canadian National IC,
No,
we'd have to contact.
to see if they can get that repaired, cause that looks like it can just fall in or cave in, cause the cars can go up under it, but I'll just be wondering if that thing would ever fall.
I can make a call to the railroad and just ask them to please
Kinda
look at it.
examine it or
Yeah.
something. Thanks
Okay.
so much.
Sure.
Sir, we can't address, public can't address the committee when we're in committee meeting.
Anything else?
No, that's all for you.
Yep.
We'll have
Thank you.
Wes Andrews.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
First item on the agenda is the facility dude report for the month of August. We had 170 work orders in the system, so a pretty busy month. Moving on to the financial report, you've got two of them in front of you. You've got our year-to-date expenses, and then you've got our month-to-date expenses. I do not prepare the month-to-date or the year-to-date, and there was an error on the month-to-date, which I crossed off. The addition was wrong, so you can see the previous year total of $15,786.27 versus the current year total, or the current month total rather, I'm sorry, $13,915.92. Pretty typical month. Really not a whole lot in the way of repairs. I went through the breakdown that I have. So under, excuse me, under purchase orders, which is a majority of our supplies for the month, we didn't have a single expense over $327. That was pretty much the highest that we had. Everything else is in the vicinity of $164, $30, $35, $250. I mean, pretty minimal from an expense standpoint, pretty minimal for the month of August. So when you compare the month or compare the year to date, we're still behind where we were at last year. But I mean, if you look through it with any detail, you'll see that majority of the savings is on the appointed official from last year. So, you know, when you take that off, you know, expenses are probably running slightly ahead of where we were last year. Not a whole lot, but a little bit ahead.
Yes, sir.
Last year, there was, we had two of us. My successor, or the previous maintenance director was here, so for some time last year, we had two salaries.
Okay.
It's probably some of it, most of it.
13. Thank you. Subtly, Wes is reminding me of something. We brought Wes on. We had two salaries, as he mentioned, while he was getting up to speed. His salary was, I want to say, on a trial basis, if you will. You know, coming in the door. It was our intent to move him up where the previous maintenance director was. So in the next budget year, you will see that match what the previous maintenance director was. And so that would be our recommendation in the budget to do that. So we just wanted to kind of make sure that we had a good fit for everybody. And I don't know how this committee feels, but I can tell you other department heads that interact with Wes, it's worked out very, very well in the relationship we have. So if you don't approve the budget, that means you don't like what he's done. No, I just, if there is any comments along those lines, I don't know if it's an official recommendation here, but as far as a stamp of approval on the type of job that he's done, I think that's where I stand.
Thank you.
Well, I've heard nothing but good recommendations for him. All the time. Yes, sir.
Wes, what's the 5,002 under building and equipment at public safety?
5,002.
Build equipment.
Building equipment under public safety.
That was for, let me look under my notes.
Motors?
I would hope not.
I know we talked about motors during the month.
Talked about what?
The motors for the cell doors.
Yeah, I think that was it. That was for signage for the building.
Is this the name change out there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of exorbitant.
Any further questions? Stay.
I'd like to comment on the fact that how nice, I think we got a lot for our money on that particular thing. It's the lettering and the signage and everything, it's great work there.
That was lettering on the building, installation of the lettering on the building, the monument lettering inside on the
desk there.
On the desk, and then lettering on the windows as well.
Very good.
Sorry. I'll talk into the microphone.
Good idea. Okay. Is there
Anything else on the finances? So yeah, well, I guess when you take that off, it tells you what kind of a month we had. Okay, moving on. Building report at 189 here. I'm still working on exterior painting on floors 2 through 6. Something that I still have. I'm still planning here to get done yet this year. Also want to call your attention to the ground floor on the west side as you go out of the meeting here today. If you look up at the west elevation of the building, you'll see that has a lot of cracks in it as well. That's something that, you know, as I do my building walk around, something that I notice, something that I think, as long as we're looking at doing, you know, and maybe this is something we do next year, but it's certainly something that I wanted to bring to the committee's attention, because I think if we don't do it this year, it certainly should be something we look into doing next year. Doing some patching and painting. You can see where in years past they have done some patching. It's not real difficult to see if you look close. Something that we should probably look into next year. I guess that would be my recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize. I had something go through my head. The sidewalks and the striping in the alley, is that what?
No, we're talking about the painting of the building.
Oh, okay. I apologize because I know we were
No, if you look at
that.
the west elevation for the first floor,
yeah,
there's many cracks in it. It's been patched and painted in the past. Some of the cracks run from the top to the bottom. So
yeah,
it's just something that, you know, just to get on our radar. Courthouse chairs are in. I went ahead and ordered those. They're in the shop here. We'll get those delivered over to the courthouse either today or tomorrow. Grant update. I've been working with the DCEO on the grant. Met with Steve McCarty yesterday. The grant is moving on to the legal department. This is my first time going through this, so I assume that's good news. We've jumped through many hoops. Sounds like it's on to legal now for final drafting of the document, you know, to hopefully, you know, solidify our grant that we've been working on for what seems like the better part of a year now. So ADA, I've got no update on that. I'm still waiting on the Attorney General's office to get back to us. If you recall, we met with them a couple months ago, went over our proposed scope of work, and the ball is in their court at this point. So waiting for them to get back to us on that. At the annex, working with Tom Latham on the installation of a new door. Tom's has some office needs. We're putting in a new door for him over there to create some more office space. and we're doing that in-house. So that's, maintenance staff is doing that, obviously to keep expenses, to a minimum. Old jail, nothing really out of the ordinary there. Showers, faucets, toilets, they're all leaking. They break from time to time. You know, we fix them when they do. It's an old building. You've heard me, you know, talk about that at length, ad nauseum. Windows, we talked about this a little bit at last month's meeting. We need to probably address the window situation over there. When it rains hard, there is some leaking over there that we need to get addressed. So my plan is for next month's meeting to have some estimates that we can look at to kind of get an idea as to, you know, what kind of money we're talking to make those corrections.
Mr. Oldtorf.
Niner.
Does that require new windows or caulking?
I'm hoping just requires some caulking.
Okay.
Mr. Snipes.
Thank you. Maybe this has been done at times, I don't know, but has there ever been considerations to power wash those buildings, the annex and the jail, because it just looks horrible and the whole 9 yards. So I'm just wondering if on the agenda, is there any time to just clean them?
Every time I drive by them, I look at that and think, boy, it'd be nice to power wash them. If you want to give me the money to do it, I'll certainly go get it done.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And I would like to see what it would run to.
Okay.
You know, because I just think that.
Oh, it needs to be done. There's no question.
You're right.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it just looks bad.
Mr. Chairman?
All right.
Four.
Mr. Carroll. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to personally thank Wes for taking the time to give me a tour to the old jail.
You're welcome.
That was very informative, since we voted on a lot of stuff that associated to the old jail. So, though, thank you.
You bet. You're welcome.
Okay.
So yeah, to answer your question, I'll start to throw some numbers around, see what it looks like. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a considerable expense. I mean, there's a lot there that needs to be power washed, but I mean, it would look like $1 million at the end of it. I agree.
I'm Brett Holder.
Oh, another question.
Oldtorf.
There's no R in my name, Jordan. That's all right.
Oldtorf.
There you go. Thank you, Chairman. A fellow named Tom Carroll's got a painting and pressure washing business. He's done work for me, but he also did the building for LeBeau in the back there that he painted that white.
Okay.
But he works very reasonably.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Featherling.
You have that building power wash, do they have sealers that you can apply to that type of surface after they clean it?
I couldn't tell you. I'd have to look into that. I mean, I
Is
think
that
they have a
something
sealer
that-
nowadays for just about anything, I would imagine.
But is that
so-
something that's power washing company would probably provide if you asked them to?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly.
That would make it go
Extend
much
it.
further without having to be washed again.
Right, extend the time.
They can
Any
seal
further
it.
questions?
All right, moving on. JCDC, recently been dealing with some cell windows that have been broke, toilets broken. You know, it happens every 6 months or so. So working through that right now. I have a ComEd webinar later on today from 11 till 12. It's a webinar that is specifically geared towards distressed communities. Not sure exactly what that means, besides the obvious. So I'm going to sit through it, see what it means, have more information to report back at next month's meeting. But what I think it means is there's enhanced incentives for communities that meet certain criteria. So we may or we may not, but I figured it's worth a look. Building dedication went very well. For those of you that were there, the property looked fantastic. Grass was green, weeds were cut, bushes were trimmed. Staff did a phenomenal job. I got nothing but good remarks from everybody who was there. So kudos to my staff, you know, for the extra effort that they put in to make that place look. It always looks good, but to go the extra mile to make it look even better. So that's all I got. I'll take any questions, or Andy, if you wanted to discuss vehicles, I think that was something you wanted.
Unless there's other old business or Any of that kind of, any questions first?
Any old business?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mentioned it in the full board meeting, but we were looking at ways to potentially save a little bit of money on the pickup trucks that we ordered. If you remember, we get 2 for maintenance, 1 had a plow on it. We had a plow to put on the other one if needed. The impetus behind that is our snow plow is, well, literally falling apart continually. Keep getting it fixed. And Wes was driving around his own truck to transport larger type stuff around the county. That's not the best practice because of liability. You know, he gets in a wreck, then we're paying for his personal vehicle. So he probably would not mind that, but we, as far as upgrading his situation, but we definitely can't do that. So it became available to us that there was a pickup over at the highway department that we had declared surplus. And so I would just, you know, for that situation, I bring it to the committee. Is it okay if we just, you know, bring that over to, for Wes to use that as, also as a salt spreader, because they would have to put a spreader on and off other vehicles and then use that for the rest of the maintenance staff to run around in. Because there is times where they need to be going different places. And then accordingly, we would take the, is it an Impala that you have? That Impala would transfer over to the public defender who was asking for a vehicle. So we don't necessarily have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. We just kind of shift some stuff around. So I wanted to kind of get the head nod from the group to go ahead and move that around. And, you know, the only thing that I would want is I asked to have it painted. So it's white, not the big banana driving around town. We want all of our vehicles to be the same, and Highway would do that, or did it, actually.
Any questions?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we could vote on it. Yeah.
If you're talking about painting a vehicle, who's gonna do that? Cause that's several $1,000s.
It was highway, about $1,000.
Highway.
They have a paint booth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Snipes.
Approve the transfer of vehicles. I agree with the chairman that it's probably in our best interest, a very economical savings. So I make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Snipes, second by Bones.
My question is this, is that a recommendation that came from Mr. Andrews that we transfer these vehicles? In other words, is this a recommendation, a good idea to do?
Yeah.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, our Dodge truck that the salt spreader is on is, I think, about a 1997. It's badly rusted. It's in bad shape. It doesn't work more than it works. But we make do.
Yeah, the one other thing I forgot to mention is up until this point, I forgot to mention, up until this point, the regional office of schools is paid to have their lot plowed. We are actually responsible for plowing that. That's part of the law. So they've asked us to start plowing it. So we do need the second plow for those snow events to be in different places. So that's another reason that we needed that second plow on the ground to be able to pop it on the other truck. So I just want to mention that.
Yeah.
Mr. Snipes.
Yeah, not to be technical, but we might be responsible for the regional office of education, but those areas that they're renting out, are we responsible for those as well? Or will they consider kind of putting something in the budget to kind of help us align to maintain those? I mean, the regional I can see, but the other part of that building is rented, so do we do it for them as well?
Well, yeah, I guess we could ask them to contribute towards it. I don't think it hurts to ask, but ultimately we're responsible for plowing that lot anyway. So if they say no, then we just stop plowing halfway through the lot in front of the parking spaces in front of their, and I don't necessarily know if that's the best neighborly thing to do, so.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
I think you might talk to them and see what
they can
their
do.
feelings are. Explain to them that we understand that they are renting some of the property out, and that would reduce our responsibility somewhat for maintaining the whole lot.
Yeah.
And tell them the chairman thought of that.
You know I'm not that smart.
Did
Some things are just assumed.
we need a motion? I mean, we've got the old motion. Do we need a roll call or a voice vote?
Yeah, roll call.
Roll call vote.
Mr. Washington,
Aye.
Mr. Kinzinger, Mr. Olthoff, Mr. Hess, Ms. Polk, Mr. Snipes,
Aye.
Ms. Peters, Mr. Carrico, Mr. Eckhoff, Mr. Featherling, Mr. Smith, Mr. Dennell, Mr. Wheeler.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Is there any, well, we've done the transfer of vehicles, so any other business that we have to conduct
Charging the paint job to your department.
today?
Everybody else does.
Motion to adjourn. Our bones. Mr. Altorf.
Bluetooth.
There. One
Aye.
last shot.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye. Nay, the same sign.
Yes.